Today we're going to take a closer look at the cybersecurity market, more importantly some key points hitting this industry, a few ETFs that investors should watch, and how a big giant like Microsoft continues to buy companies in this sector. Let's get started.
I do want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and make sure to check out fool.com/Jose to get the top 10 stocks to buy right now.
So here we can see, based on this study from Grandview Research, that the North America cybersecurity market is expected to grow on an 8% annual compounded growth rate for the next 8 years between 2022 and 2030. We can see right now a bulk of the market is coming from services, but there is also a nice amount of revenue coming from software and hardware. The cybersecurity market is definitely a tricky one in my opinion. It's one that's constantly evolving, one that has changed dramatically in just the past few years due to the adoption of cloud, and one that we continue to see new players and new companies enter into space. So it's very hard for investors to kind of grab information. And for the investors that want to learn more about the cybersecurity market, I definitely say check out some ETFs, because ETFs themselves, when you kind of take a closer look at their website, they do share kind of investor presentations where they give you great insight of what are some of the solutions, what are some of the markets, what are some of the companies in this space. The first ETF we're going to take a closer look at is First Trust Nasdaq Cybersecurity ETF, ticker CIBR. And like I mentioned here, if you take a closer look to their investor guide or their fact sheet, we can learn a little bit more about the market. First, they mentioned the market valuation for cybersecurities will cross $400 billion by 2027. The demand for security solutions across enterprise is contributing to market growth. And this is something very important, right? Big giants, they are continuing to invest in cybersecurity. So even if some of these cyber giants don't get new customers, their current customers are increasing their wallets as they continue to improve their cyber solutions. Another important factor, the global cybersecurity market is anticipated to reach $296 billion by 2027, growing at a compounded annual growth rate of 8.9% over 2020 and 2027. This is the one that I think is crazy. Global cybercrime costs are anticipated to grow 15% per year to reach $10.5 trillion annually by 2025. And we can see just how in 2020 it has jumped dramatically compared to 2015. So the cyber ETF has an expense ratio of 0.6. I want to say this is a little bit expensive compared to obviously index investing, but it is a lot cheaper than some kind of active ETFs you see out there. Here's also a list of their top 10 holdings, which roughly make up 46% of the total portfolio. So this ETF is pretty good for investors that want a nice limited amount of positions. 37 is not completely concentrated, but there's obviously other ETFs with numerous more holdings. And also, when their top 10 holdings is roughly 50% of the total portfolio, I also believe it's a little bit concentrated on itself. If we take a closer look at the past 5 years, we can see cyber has actually beaten the S&P 500 and Nasdaq in total returns. And for those not familiar, here in Y charts, total returns do include expense ratio. The second ETF we're going to take a closer look at is HACK ETF MG Prime Cybersecurity ETF. But first, if you are enjoying the episode, make sure to hit the thumbs up, as it does help me grow my overall audience. If you want to support a little bit more, check out my link at fool.com/Jose. So this has a very similar expense ratio of 0.6. This one actually has a little bit more holdings. Number of holdings is 59. Here we can take a closer look at some of his top 10 holdings. Its number 1 is Fortinet, number 2 is Base System, number 3 is Booz Allen Hamilton. Just to take a closer look back at cyber, their top 3 are Info Systems, Cisco Systems, and Broadcom. I do want to say this HACK ETF is probably for investors that want to have a little bit more holdings in the portfolio. Unfortunately, unlike cyber, HACK has not beaten the S&P 500 or the Nasdaq in total returns. Now the final ETF we're going to take a closer look at today is WisdomTree Cybersecurity Fund, ticker WCBR. This one's a little bit cheaper. It has an expense ratio of 0.45%. And we can take a closer look. It only has 25 holdings. So this is a little bit more concentrated, and it's for investors that want to have a concentration in this space. Its top 3 stocks are Fortinet, Palo Alto, and Okta. And its top 10 positions make up roughly 51% of total portfolio. So this is a brand new ETF that started in early 2021. Unfortunately, at the time, it's still not beating the Nasdaq or the S&P 500 in total returns. Even though this one has not been in the market, it's probably my favorite out of the 3. The reason being is, 1, this one's a more concentrated ETF. It has only 25 positions, and the top 10 positions make up over 50% of total portfolio. The second reason is this one has the cheapest expense ratio compared to the other players. Unfortunately, that concentration is definitely hitting this WCBR stock the most. We can take a closer look year to date. WCBR is down roughly 36%. The one that continues to be it's Cyber, which is down roughly 24.86% year to date. So for investors that are definitely looking at a cybersecurity ETF, I do believe Cyber, the first Trust Nasdaq cybersecurity ETF, is probably the best winner at the moment because it has a track record of beating the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. My favorite would be the WisdomTree Cybersecurity ETF, ticker WCBR. Unfortunately, this one's kind of new. It doesn't have the track record of overbeating the market. Right now, it's actually underperforming it, but like I mentioned earlier, that concentration and that cheap ratio is what definitely drives me a little bit closer to it and one I'm going to keep my eyes on. I want to say out of these 3 ETFs, only one of the ETFs made it in the top 10 for all 3, and that is Fortinet, Nasdaq ticker FTNT. So let me know in the comments below if you guys want me to do a closer deep dive on Fortinet so we can learn a little bit more about it. The cool thing about Fortinet that I know is this one develops their own chips to kind of help with their cybersecurity solutions, and you guys know how I'm such a huge fan of the semiconductor market. And if we take a closer look at Fortinet, most recent quarter year-over-year growth was 28.5%, and for the past 5 quarters it has been growing by over 20% each quarter. Unfortunately, forward PE ratio for Fortinet is roughly 52. Pretty high, but we can see this is a growth company in a growth industry. So next I want to take a closer look at merger and acquisitions here in the cybersecurity market. We can see from this research on May 2022 that heavy cybersecurity spending may be here to stay for mergers and acquisitions. And I actually wanted to take a closer look at one big company, Microsoft, ticker MSFT. Microsoft at the moment, we can see in the past 2 years has made numerous acquisitions. I mean, they have plenty of cash at hand. And in the past 2 years alone, they have made 4 acquisitions dealing with cybersecurity. They purchased Miburo to boost threat intelligence research into new foreign cyber threats. They acquired CloudKnox Security to offer unified privilege access and cloud entitlement management. They also purchased RiskIQ to strengthen cybersecurity of digital transformation and hybrid work. And they purchased Reform Labs to enhance Internet of Things security. So we can see even the big giants are purchasing numerous companies in this space, both private and public. So let me know in the comments below, are you purchasing cybersecurity stocks at the moment, or would you rather go with the ETF approach for this evolving market? Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.